Hello and welcome back to my brother Jack in this episode of Baseball Night. The first one of the 2024 season. We are, oh man, like 10 days away from spring training.
It's almost truck day, Tommy.
Oh, baby. Everyone's favorite day
Mm-hmm.
here in RSN. So it's funny, Jack. It's fun. I'm glad we're talking about this. Let's see. The first team who will be prominently featured today that is reporting is the Los Angeles Dodgers are reporting in 8 days. So
Okay.
it's, as I mentioned, it's a fun day, but at the same time, it's not because we're going to talk about the Red Sox have, or should I say haven't done. It's, it's just a bummer. It was a bummer of a winter, Red Sox wise.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, we're gonna get into it here. What they did a lot, right? They took away some pieces that you thought were gonna be problematic all year. Um, but they haven't added anybody. I mean, they
That's
added
the
one
thing.
guy who has been on a steady decline the last 3 years of his career. We're gonna get into it, but overall, the headline of the winter is this is not full throttle. Full throttle. We have stalled out. FSG has stalled out.
So let's just there's the only way to do this is just dive in. So
Mhm.
we'll start with the Red Sox, then we're going to preview the NL West, which is just it makes you really think when you think of the NL West and a certain team that has a big payroll. So the Red Sox, they just to start, here's some guys that aren't coming back. Corey Kluber's his club option was declined. Joely Rodriguez club option declined. Justin Turner declined his player option. James Paxton, free agent. Adam Duvall, free agent. Adalberto Mondesi, free agent. And it's funny to think how last year at this time we were like, hey, they signed Mondesi. If he can be healthy, maybe he adds a little bench depth. Da 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 da. I don't think he got an inning. Did he?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't play. He never played in the majors last year. No.
So they say they're going to go full throttle, as you mentioned, in the press conference for Craig Breslow. But then, Jack, surprise, surprise, they walked that back. I believe Tom Warner changed it to we're going to do everything we deem necessary or something like that. Um,
Tom, I just don't. So when Tom Warner showed up at Red Sox winter weekend, which they probably will not do next year, unless it generates revenue, they probably won't do it because it's essentially them getting booed, telling lies, and getting booed again. When he walked that comment back, one that I've seen people write it up, but one that keeps getting ignored is the fact that Sam Kennedy said we are going to expect to have a lower payroll this year. That is not only the opposite of full throttle, that is essentially giving up this season again.
yeah, it's the strangest thing. So I mean, we just constantly send our baseball group chat back and forth things that we just don't understand about what's happening. And the latest thing was AJ Pierzynski, Red Sox legend, what had Ken Rosenthal
The
on
World
his
Series. Or no,
podcast,
wait, he was here after the World Series. Sorry.
and he asked, "Are the Red Sox trying?" And Ken Rosenthal didn't wait a beat, didn't think about it, didn't laugh. He just said no.
Because later that day, it came out that Fenway Sports Group dropped $3 billion with a B dollars on the Live PGA merger. That's
Right.
where their money is. They don't care about the Red Sox. It's a money-making opportunity for them. They don't have to worry about TV. Ken Rosenthal went into detail. He didn't just say no, they're not trying.
Well, it was just funny that his initial response was just no.
While AJ Brzezinski was finishing asking his question too. So he knew what he had. He went into detail saying all these other teams who aren't spending and are trying to renegotiate contracts with regional sports broadcasts aren't getting what they want from that. That is not the case with the Red Sox, as they own the channel they broadcast on.
Right.
And so they don't have to worry about money unless they're making another financial decision, which is in turn affecting the teams they own. Two things they've done all offseason. One, $3 billion to the PGA Live merger. Congrats. Two, they signed probably the best French soccer player ever to play for their English football team. Great job, guys. That doesn't do dick for us over here.
No. And that the fact that Sam Kennedy just keeps running out there and just taking it on the chin, like he has a great salary, and I'm sure he is set up for the rest of his life, but they are running him out there to just get pulverized because he said in the offseason, the Red Sox budget is separate from all the other budgets. And I'm just not going to believe that from a notorious liar to the press. You can't, there's then nothing, it doesn't explain what's happening. If they have their own payroll, it's separate. Why aren't you just spending the money? It's you want to do, you had your eyes on the Live PGA merger. You got this soccer player, and I know you don't listen to his podcast, but Bill Simmons, a Red Sox fan, is adamant. He said LeBron and the Fenway Sports Group are going to get the Vegas NBA expansion team. He's like,
I have no doubt.
He's like, that is happening. I'm sure of it. And I mean, the guys that he's covered the NBA for years, he knows. So I'm like, okay, there we go. That's another thing they're going to add to their payroll. It's so strange that now you see some of the stuff they're doing and you have to wonder, because they just bought all the land around Fenway and they want to turn it into this big experience. Rumors have floated that in 2025, they're going to sell the team because maybe they think owning a Vegas NBA team is more profitable. And who knows, maybe they sell the Penguins too, because they're in NASCAR, Premier League, Major League Baseball, the NHL, and now golf. It used to just be that they owned the Red Sox.
Yeah.
I will just not buy that all those teams' budgets are separate.
Probably not, especially with the way they've spent money this year. I'm guessing not. It still comes off the FSG book. Just because it's allocated somewhere, it's still that company's money. Of course it's not. Of course they want to allocate into different buckets, but that's not what they're doing. And what they're doing is essentially giving up on the AL East race. Pretty much everybody got better.
Yeah, I actually set up the schedule to do the AL East as our preview last.
Which
and
should. I like
it's
that
gonna
idea,
be
but yeah.
It's gonna be a great way to just right before opening day really be bummed out even more about the season. But now we move on to the moves they did make. We are going to look. Now, one sent us into a tizzy. We were excited. So let's just start there. I was thinking about doing it chronologically, but Craig Breslow traded Chris Sale. He got half his salary off the books, and he acquired Vaughn Grisham, second baseman, which they needed, who hit his first career home run last year at Fenway. This to me is no notes. Great work.
Yep. Much needed. Should have did it last year. Should have traded him when somebody was interested in him at the deadline last year.
It's wild to think how much I'm just like, the Larry David meme from the Palestine chicken episode, where at the end he's just like, "Argh." Are you familiar with what I'm referencing?
I'm
That's
familiar
been
with the
me
episode, yeah.
when the whenever the John Henry discourse starts, but also I start thinking about Chaim Bloom, and I'm like, hey, maybe Bloom had some more restraints on him than we are giving him credit for. And then I start thinking the Texas Rangers wanted Chris Sale last year. And I think I can say this with confidence. Hindsight's 2020. I don't think the Rangers win the World Series if they go for Chris Sale. Because then you have injured DeGrom, Scherzer, and Sale on your roster.
Yeah. I mean, Scherzer pitched a little bit. Neither really played an effect in the postseason, but had he played in the postseason, he might have been Chris Sale of the postseason, with the exception of that one inning he threw in LA.
Yeah.
Hasn't had the best postseason record. He's in a better situation with the Braves. They're a better team overall. They could use a hard throwing lefty if he's still a hard throwing lefty. I mean, that could be something. I agree with you. No notes to get that salary off the books. You fill the need at second base, probably for the next 5 years. And he
Oh,
kind of
he's
fits in with,
controllable for 5 or 6 years, which is
and then
huge.
he also fits in with the team narrative of being young, up and coming people who need to take a giant leap forward to be anywhere near competitive.
If you go to the fits the mold um point you just made, if you go to the Red Sox roster resource payroll section on Fangraphs, again, Fangraphs is it's great now, but if we had Fangraphs when we were younger, we would just have we would have passed out because it's
Oh, yeah.
just every question I have ever, I can just go to Fangraphs. But here the longest, so they break the payroll down into sections, and it's players with guaranteed salaries, and that's your Devers, your Story, your Yoshida, Kenley, Chris Martin, sure. But then it's players eligible for arbitration. There are 4 guys on that list, and then notable players not yet eligible for arbitration, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys. So 11 guys arbitration eligible or approaching arbitration. That is what I think when you say fits the mold of the Red Sox right now. It
Yeah.
is not
Young
guaranteed
and
contracts.
controllable.
It is guys you can you don't have to worry about a Juan Soto arbitration case with these guys or a Mookie Betts one. So
I mean, one of them could break out. You may have that next season, but yeah.
sure. But the arbitration eligible guys are Nick Pivetta, Tyler O'Neill, Reese McGuire, and John Schreiber. We know what they are. It's more like Casas and Bayo, maybe Duran, that you can be like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe something happens. Sale's gone. Sale from 2016 to 2018 was everything I wanted. He was a crazy man who threw a million miles an hour and struck everyone out. Won a World
Well,
Series.
he also pitched most of his games. Like he
Mhm.
played in all the games that he was supposed to, which is a huge thing for a starting pitcher to make your starts. Be effective, great, but making your starts is like one of the biggest things, something that he didn't do since 2018.
Correct. And then there is another trade Breslow made, which, you know, he traded Alex Verdugo to the Yankees for Greg Weissert, Richard Fitz, and Nicholas Justice. 3 young pitchers. Well, Weissert's 29, but 3 pitchers. I think I ran out with Verdugo. Time ran out. He was a good defensive right fielder who could be your third outfielder, but he was unfortunately like their top guy. And when you have guys that are third or lower outfielders as your best outfielder, then you're in a bad situation. He didn't hit for power. he
I
just
mean, you
never.
can just say it. You can just say it. He wasn't as effective as Mookie Betts was as a right fielder for this organization. And to all of our fans who don't want us to talk about Mookie Betts anymore, you're going to have to get used to that because the only remaining person from that deal is Connor Wong, who may have a position as the starting catcher, but everything else has returned to you absolutely zero for that trade.
It is. It is.
It's not Chaim Bloom's. It wasn't Chaim Bloom's fault.
No,
It was
this is
Fenway Sports Group's fault.
that was the
Fenway
John
Sports Group
Henry.
did it. So as long as they're still the owners and I still have breath in my body, I'm going to talk about that trade and how it ruined the Red Sox for 5 to maybe at this point what we're looking at 10 years.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other trades that went like this. Like Herschel Walker, isn't that the big one? Herschel Walker gets traded from the Cowboys. They end up drafting Irving, Emmett Smith, and Troy Aikman, win 3 Super Bowls. What I honestly, I can't think of something off the top of my head that's so drastic.
Babe Ruth.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like going that far back. Has there been
It
a
really
trade
is.
where an impactful player?
Steve Carlton. Steve Carlton got traded from the Phillies or to the Phillies for like a what was at the time a terrible move. I mean, a lesser trade to that involving the Red Sox was the Derek Lowe and Varitek move for Heathcliff Slocum. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
there
love
are
Varitek,
trades
but
that
he's not as good as Mookie Betts.
no, there are trades like that, but he had such an effect. I mean, guy won 4 World Series or 3 World Series, but it's just like the effect that they have. But no, there is not going to be a player of that caliber traded like that for a return on prospects that didn't pan out. By the way, just to ease into my next point, that is the number one takeaway on every single rated prospect in your organization. There's a chance, actually greater than 50, 60%, that they will not pan out in the major leagues. So when you have an MVP and a guy who's finished in the MVP voting for in the top 5 for since he's been in LA, that player can't be replaced by 3 number 1 prospects in your organization.
Unless you have those. The thing is like the no doubt prospects that we've heard about in our lifetime: Trout, Harper, Machado, Juan Soto, Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, and probably Jackson Holiday, like for real recent stuff. That's when those guys are just instantly like tearing up double A, and then it's like, well, they're the number 1 prospect in every prospect ranking, and you know they're going to be good. That's the return you need to get for a perennial MVP, not Connor Wong and Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, I mean though, even though that is so ridiculous that they transformed 3 top prospects in baseball into what is now back-to-back rookie of the year winners with Jackson Holiday set to debut this year. So that's insanity. That is a major outlier, a absolutely major outlier. But those are all top draft picks too. Like obviously there's guys who get drafted in the 7th, 8th round that make the majors, but you know, when you're a top 10 draft pick, you kind of have this certain air that you're going to produce at a level. Like Torkelson, Riley Green, those guys all came up through the systems as top draft picks. Even Benintendi was a top 10 draft pick and produced at the majors. But when you get into these Jeter Downs, Connor Wongs, Alex Verdugos, those are not top draft picks. Those
Yeah.
aren't guys that you look at ever and say, this is who I'm going to build my franchise around.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Verdugo's gone because at the end of the year, he was not a team player at all. It started when he showed up late that day. Cora benched him. As soon as he got traded, he threw Cora directly under the bus. So good riddance. And I hope he sucks in New York.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, they went ahead and got another outfielder that we're going to discuss.
They got a better right fielder. They got a better right fielder.
So then the signings, I guess Tyler O'Neill was technically traded. Yeah, he was. He was acquired from the Cardinals in a trade. Tyler O'Neill's fine. That's where
Right-handed
that can end.
power-ish. I mean, he's right-handed power. I say that because he's got gigantic arms. If he can hit home runs in Fenway, that would be different.
No one wears
I
tighter
see all
pants.
the
Not even
you
Walker
see all the
Bueller.
layup, huh?
No one wears tighter pants. Not even Walker Bueller.
Oh, you see these overlays of where his fly balls get caught as opposed to Fenway Park. We've talked about it before. Pitchers pitch you different depending on what park you are, depending on what count, depending on what the weather's doing. But I've never bought into it. But it seems like they've tried to fill a need with right-handed power there. However, I don't think they got the right-handed bat.
No. Nope. They didn't. And he'll be fine. But are they going to do a rotation in the outfield? Who knows? I said when Breslow was hired, I believe, I don't want to hear the word versatile anymore, and I just keep hearing the word versatile.
Yeah,
Um,
that's not going to change.
it's like Tim's
Again, I mean,
chili. It's so versatile.
I I don't know what that means. Does that mean he can put it on a bowl or dip chips in it?
I don't know. He always calls chili versatile, and it's like it's not versatile if you just can make like 3 different recipes of it.
Because you can put it on a hot dog. That's the versatility factor.
Um, then the signing. This is you alluded to this. Lucas Giolito. They signed him to a 2-year deal, but you also mentioned he has been slipping, and in the last couple years, his best year, let's check, was 2019, 341 ERA. He had 11 strikeouts per nine. Oh, wait. Well, 2020 is a wash, but 11 strikeouts per nine, 14-9 record. And then it's gone. The ERA is starting to go up, 3.5, still not bad. But then the last 2
And
years,
yeah, then
4.9,
sad.
4.8.
That's, with a career ERA that sits right there at 4.43, going into a hitter's ballpark.
Now,
And I don't know where he's going to fit into Alex Cora's rotation or what this mastermind of pitching named Andrew Bailey can do with him. Um, but I do know that he's not your opening day starter.
no. I think I would really hope Brian Bayo is.
Yeah, again, I love Brian Bayo, but he needs to take a gigantic step forward. They have no ace. They have no two. They have no 1 or 2 guy. Bayo right now is their solid 2 starter. Maybe in a rotation, in a good rotation, the 3 or 4 guy. Who's going to pitch, Tom?
I don't know. I, the pitching
There's
thing.
more talk now of Andrew Bailey transitioning both Houck and Whitlock to starters, kind of something we talked about last offseason. They didn't have good seasons. They didn't stay healthy. Tanner Houck, albeit was not his fault. He got hit in the face by a line drive. Can't control that. But Whitlock didn't stay healthy. Houck wasn't there. He wasn't on the field. And when he came back, mediocre at best.
Yeah.
He doesn't have lights out stuff. Nobody in the rotation has lights out stuff. And I'm worried, with the exception of Chris Martin having the same amazing year he had last year, nobody in the bullpen has lights out stuff either.
Yeah. I mean, the first 5 bullets going into the postseason or the offseason was pitching, 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 pitching.
Right-handed bat. Yeah.
And the it didn't happen. The like that's the move they made. I have this spreadsheet that I made last night of their moves. Again, thanks to Fangraphs. It's Lucas Giolito. And like they avoided arbitration with Nick Pivetta, who got a lot better at the end of the season. But
Well, he's in the bullpen.
well, they started stretching him out and starting him again once he started throwing a slider at the end of the year. But I'm not going to say I want Nick Pivetta as my number 2 guy.
No.
I mean, at this point, they should just make some sort of Blake Snell Godfather move.
Yes.
Just get him. right? Am I going crazy?
No, it's actually, but yeah, Tom, you are going crazy because if Jordan Montgomery is too expensive, and that's what he was flat out told by the Red Sox, you are too expensive. Um, the reigning Cy Young winner from the National League is going to be more expensive than that. They're not going to sign Blake Snell.
No, I know they're not. I know. I'm just sitting here like unsigned guys. Montgomery is surprisingly the top of the Fangraphs leader. I guess they project him to have a better WAR than Blake Snell. But Montgomery, Bellinger, Blake Snell, Matt Chapman, never in a million years will that happen. Never. But do you know what those four guys instantly do? They just make you better.
Hmm.
They give you a 1 and 2 starter, a left-handed. They have a lot of left-handers, but solid defense at third base. I mean, there must be something in Devers' contract saying that he can play third base while he wants to. It must be until he hits like 30.
That's a long ways away. That's going to be tough.
I know. But right there, you're just better. And it's crazy to think that it's $100 million. Not total, but that's what you would have to pay this year for those guys.
No, they're not going to do it.
No. The final thing I'll say about the Red Sox, then we can go to our NL West preview and get even more bummed.
Ugh.
This is never going to happen for me. I will just remain a Red Sox fan. It's going to ebb and flow. Who knows what happens with this ownership group? It's just in the moment frustrating, and in thinking of the next like 3 years is frustrating. But I will say, I get how casual fans of a team sometimes can get so upset with an ownership group with a team that they're just like, nah, I just kind of follow baseball now. Like you hear national people all the time say, oh, well, I grew up a Rangers fan. I grew up a Red Sox fan, a Yankee fan. But, you know, once I hit like this age or whatever, they just stop following that team and just like to watch baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how that happens when you
It
have these
happened.
guys that are just essentially saying, we're going to have the most expensive ballpark experience in the world, but we're not going to make it worth going with the product on the field.
It's also, I'll just come out and say it, it's also a real shithole of a ballpark. I've been to like 15 other parks. They're so much better. Um, but anyways, with that too, I mean, the last couple of years with you and I splitting the MLB TV subscription, when the game gets to a point where you're just like, okay, I can't handle this anymore. That's what I'm becoming. And it's becoming more of a let's go see what's happening in LA. When it was Trout and Ohtani, let's go see what's there. You and I used to talk pretty openly every day about who's pitching tonight. Who are you going to watch tonight? Like who's exciting to watch this weekend? Because in a point in June, hopefully it even makes that long, the Red Sox might be out of this race. Because again, every team in the AL East improved except for them. Man, maybe the Rays. The Rays didn't really improve, but they're still better than the Red Sox. And it's going to come down to another possible last place finish for a team that is averse, that like improving at improving in any regard. Giolito came out and said, I was surprised the Red Sox offered that amount of money. Because he's been so bad over the past 3 seasons. He was shocked he has a deal. A professional athlete was shocked a team offered him a contract.
Yeah, that's just, there you go. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Thank God for Major League Baseball. MLB TV's big inning because, like you said, 8 o'clock when the starters been knocked out. Let's go see what's popping around in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Put that Tristan Casas at bat on stat head and just hope that it comes up.
yep. Or you just check in tomorrow, the next day, watch Devers and Casas at bats.
Yeah.
Luckily, I like Bayo and hopefully improves some more this year. But
Yeah. And I mean, Rafaela, Wilger Abreu could be big. Who knows? They're rookies, but that's what you're putting your eggs in. You're putting your eggs in a young player developing faster than most people develop.
yeah. Um, so we're gonna don't worry, we got a whole season of this, what you just heard. So strap in.
Yeah, unfortunately. And I mean, spring training too. Spring training is going to tell us a lot. Like the videos I've seen this off season have been Tristan Casas looks absolutely ripped. He got himself into phenomenal shape. He's been working in the Dominican. He's been working all over the country. He's been working in Boston with the young teammates like the Mayers, the Roman Anthonys, the guys that are top prospects in the organization. I think he, if anybody, is ready to take on a leadership role at 24 years old. Would be amazing. And he's looking like he's everybody's hot pick this year to explode, which would be great and is much needed. However, that's a lot of stock you're putting into a 24-year-old. I'm excited for it. I talked him up all last year, and I never gave up on him, even though he had that slow start. But I mean, that's what you're looking forward to this season is young guys taking a leap forward.
You're right. So we will we'll just move on to we're gonna build to the big one here in the NL West.
I was gonna
So
say we should probably start with Colorado. We should probably start in Denver.
um Rockies, they got Cal Quantrill. That's it. They
That's it.
I mean they signed Jacob Stallings and Dakota Hudson, but the Rockies aren't going to be a factor.
They're
But
gonna finish in last place.
if you like fantasy baseball, Nolan Jones might be a good person to pick up. And
Sure.
that's that's all I got for you.
Yep. I mean, they have, and just to compound things here, we have German Marquez and Antonio Senzatella. I don't think I would ever. I mean, German Marquez might be their number one guy. Maybe Kyle Freeland, but both undergoing Tommy John surgeries that aren't going to start the year. I mean, if you're a Rockies fan, there's not much to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the Giants, they they got Cooper Hummel. I'm not positive. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not familiar with your game. Um, but they did get Robbie Ray from the Mariners,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed pitching, or so I was told over and over again. Cooper Hummel batted 0.087 last year, so I could have probably crossed him off the list. Um, they lost Brandon Crawford, Jock Peterson, Jacob Junis, Alex Wood, but signed Jordan Hicks, Tom Murphy, and Jung Hoo Lee, who was the top free agent from the KBO, I believe.
KBO MVP, I think the last 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an exciting move for them. It's just I don't know. You're now that division is tough, with the ascension of the Diamondbacks, and as we know what happened with the Los Angeles Defers. Where they I just might be another. I don't think I watched the second of San Francisco Giant baseball last year, except for when they played the Red Sox. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
th-
I mean, I think the KBO guy coming in, Jung Hoo Lee, is going to be exciting. It's always exciting to see when a foreign player who dominated in his league comes over. You've seen it recently with Otani coming over and being a two-time MVP. Do I think he's that good? I don't know. Um, but again, that it seems like, and I know they've lost over the past couple of years. Their Brandon Crawfords and their Brandon Belts and their leaders of when they were kind of dynastic, winning a World Series every other year. But they're always in the hunt. Like they're always a team who can compete in their division and will be there. Like maybe towards September, October, or excuse me, August, September. They're always there, is what I'm saying. They are more consistent than the team we're going to talk about next a whole year long, which
That's
is
true.
like the Padres. The Padres have peaks and valleys like no other team in baseball. And I mean, they spend a ton of money too. I mean, all teams in the West are spending money. It's a crazy thought that all those California teams are spending the money to try to make their teams better.
Yeah. So um the Padres lost Rich Hill, Drew Pomeranz, Jerison Profar, Gary Sanchez, G-Man Choi, Blake Snell, Josh Hader, Garrett Cooper. But they signed.
Juan Soto.
Oh, I was gonna get to that.
Oh, sorry.
Wandy Peralta.
They haven't lost. They technically haven't lost Blake Snell yet.
True, true. Um, Woo Suk Go. I'm probably butchering that. Um,
Also a KBO.
yeah,
And they got a Japanese pitcher named Yuki Matsui.
yep. So it's exciting to see those guys. It's just how do they transition from playing in those leagues to the major leagues and major league hitting. But the move that they got Michael King and Kyle Higashioka. That's the move because they they packed up my boy. They put a bow on him. Possibly my favorite person to watch taken at bat in Major League
Yep.
Baseball
Not
is
even close for me. Not even close for me. Yes.
now a Yankee.
Mm-hmm.
My my sweet
And the discourse that
sweet
surrounded
boy.
who was on the table for the Yankees to give, and when you said San Diego gave him to the Yankees, that list of prospects, come on, man. Dog shit. In the discourse when that was going on of how the Yankees don't want to give up too much to get that hitter. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
In that stadium, give up the whole farm. That's what I said. I said this to you. I said it to David. I said it to Mike. Mayer should be on the table there. Roman Anthony should be on the table there.
Yeah. I mean, you
Juan
do that
Soto is
and
a better Major League Baseball player than Marcelo Mayer because Marcelo Mayer hasn't taken a fucking Major League at bat yet.
you'd make that offer and at the same time you say, Scott Boras, we know you like your guys to go to free agency, but we are bringing a chain and a lock and locking ourselves into your office and we're getting this done. And you you make a ridiculous offer of prospects and you sign him. And then there you go.
And who
But
knows? Maybe he'll sign with Boston after he spends the year winning the MVP in New York.
doubt it. All right. So the Padres didn't get better and they weren't good last year.
Nope. They made a run at the end, but yeah, you're right. They were not good.
Yeah. And then now,
And I mean, they still have hundreds of millions of dollars tied up in long-term deals. Bogarts, we were on the Red Sox for not signing him back, but we kind of took the stances like 11 years is kind of crazy. But you got to make the attempt. I mean, Bogarts was their best player last year, but they have him locked up for 10 more years. That is a lot of money to be paying over 10 years, and they don't have a deferral. He's not a deferral player.
no. No, he was just his normal, really, really good self last year. And
Mm-hmm.
but I think from every indication was it was really close to him re-signing last year, and then San Diego came in with that offer, and he just kind of looked at it like, well, $200 million is a lot of money. I'm going to take it. So the next team up is the Arizona
Surprising.
Diamondbacks.
Surprising new contenders in this division.
Last year's
Pennant winner.
NL pennant winner. And you know what? They got Eugenio Suarez from the Mariners. And signed Jock Peterson, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and Eduardo Rodriguez.
Jock Peterson just doing his best to play for every single NL West team.
God, what is he on now? 3,
That's his
4?
third. I don't think he played for the Padres, but now he's played for LA, San Francisco, and now Arizona.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, the West Coast. It's best coast. But
yeah, they got.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying they are a good team and filled with young talent that they're trying to build around, going for it with their young talent.
Yeah. There's like they are hoping for further growth from those young players. And it's tough when you make a run like that to do it again. It's almost like getting that far. I will tell you right now, I don't think they play in the World Series again next year. But the prospect of them being having 84 wins again and beating the Dodgers again, sign me up for that for the next 12 years.
I mean, sure. However, what we're going to talk about next kind of makes that not a realistic thing.
Yeah. So now we get to the Los Angeles Deferrs. They signed Shohei Ohtani.
They fucking got after it,
But
Tom.
I will say this. The Shohei Ohtani signing for the Dodgers, in the grand scheme of thing, is the most boring outcome that could have happened.
Yes.
Oh my God. What? This, honestly, I know it's not as popular of a sport. What is different than this and Kevin Durant signing with the Warriors? The Dodgers didn't win last year. I get it. But they have won a World Series. They win 100+ games every year. This is
The
so
Warriors had
boring.
won championships. Yeah. The difference is the Warriors could win without him.
Just of all the, I would have rather him go to the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I would have too, which is crazy to think because he's in the AL East. But is it boring? Yes. It's not boring for LA. It's not boring for Japan, but it's boring for baseball fans to watch a super team. Baseball's too long a sport to have a super team. So much stuff can go wrong. And I mean, listen, him and Trout being on the same team didn't do anything for Anaheim. However, he's going on to a playoff team and a team that's won the division, I don't know, last 5 years in a row or something ridiculous like that. He's going to be a difference maker. I can tell you that. Even if he's not throwing the ball, he's going to be a difference maker in that lineup. Because think of what that lineup is right now. It's Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. That's 1, 2, 3.
No. I'm aware.
That's formidable.
I swallow water weird.
I mean, that's not all they got, Tom. That's not even the start of it.
I'm just saying everyone was waiting for this for a year, and it's so boring that he picked the Dodgers.
Well, luckily for us, the Baseball Writers Association of America employs a bunch of liars who make it way more interesting just tweeting out absolutely unfounded horseshit rumors to make us all think, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. And then you realize, like, oh,
It was
John
always the
Morosi is
Dodgers.
lying.
He is not on a flight to Toronto.
Unbelievable. That was, I think, the most egregious example of sports reporters, and this is sports reporters as a whole, not checking their sources and just tweeting out whatever they first hear. And
So
yes, I've heard that it was from Shohei's team to drive up the price or anything like that. But at the same time, do your due diligence, man. Call a
I
second source.
I honestly just need to get a Twitter following by just saying bogus stuff like I I'm hearing Jack, this is breaking on the podcast. I'm hearing LeBron to the Knicks.
Yeah. Or it's not even that. It has to be more ridiculous than that. It's like, I heard LeBron's gonna play in China next season with Bronny. Like reports say. It's been reported. It's been
But
reported by you who made it up.
then they also have these incredible standards when it comes to
Oh,
letting a guy with 762 home runs into the Hall of
I'm
Fame.
glad I'm glad you went there next, because that was my exact next point, which was, but Gary Sheffield's not going to the Hall of Fame with his 500 home runs.
You know, we don't have to hash this out. We can finish with the Dodgers, but Gary Sheffield was only rumored. He never failed anything.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it was on the same report David Ortiz was, who's in.
And they all got popped for something that wasn't illegal at the time.
It's amazing. But at least they have
Yoshinobu
cool
Yamamoto.
mustaches and drink dark beer when they fill it out.
Dark beer is gross. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was a very exciting 25-year-old Japanese pitching prospect.
Who, if you believe
Boring.
reporting, the Red Sox were in on.
No, they were. But honestly, boring. Boring.
Yeah, I guess more exciting than Ohtani signing there, I think.
Boring. Just I don't know. There is me and Tim talked about this. Aesthetically, I don't like watching Dodgers games. We talked about it with the Clippers, how their court's weird, their uniforms aren't fun. It's just this whole experience of watching a Clippers game. I feel that way so much with the Dodgers. Dodger Stadium's boring. Uniforms are just white with blue lettering, but also red lettering. Just I don't know what it is about the Dodgers. They don't I don't know. But now it's like now the most exciting player in baseball is on that team.
Yeah.
But he also first pitches at 10 o'clock at night. Still, you have to change. Well, he's not going to pitch anymore, so you can just watch his at-bats the next day. It's just boring that all these guys, and then they just throw these ridiculous amounts at him. Shohei Ohtani, we didn't mention, signed a $700 million contract. But it's all deferred for 10 years away. He's making $2 million a year on the Dodgers' salary.
I mean, so the Dodgers can build around him and actually go win a World Series, which is unselfish, but it's not like Shohei Ohtani's not going to get paid that money. He's going to get paid that money.
Jack, John Lennon said it, and then it was amplified and said much better by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Taxman. Taxman is coming for those Dodgers, especially in the state of California.
Yeah. I mean, if he defers that money, though, he doesn't have to pay taxes on it if he lives somewhere else.
Yeah, it's true. He can just
he can move to Florida and get no taxes on it because there's no income tax there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because, geez, 10 years from now, it's just boring. But then they also signed James Paxton, Teoscar Hernandez, Joe Kelly re-signed, Jason Hayward re-signed. and
Tyler Glass now.
they traded for Tyler Glasnow, and then gave him a 5-year extension.
Yeah, I'm looking at their roster page right now. It is absolutely loaded.
And Manuel Margot, also from the Rays. And they gave
Yeah.
up Ryan Pepio, was I think their top pitching prospect. But
I don't understand.
they
How
gave up a pitching prospect for a guy is good in the major leagues.
I don't understand how Andrew Friedman keeps fleecing teams like this.
It's you just don't return the call.
It's unbelievable. And he has the right strategy. They still have a good farm system. They
Yeah.
still have a really good farm system. It's incredible.
I remember there was talk of his contract being up before the 2020 season. And I remember just thinking, the Red Sox want to get rid of Mookie Betts. Can this guy get here, please? But then you think, oh, LA is probably a cooler place to live. And the owners say, just give this guy $700 million. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. You know what he did? He actually just stayed in LA and went out and got Mookie Betts.
Yeah. And then got Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And Freddie Freeman. But the ultimate question I have for you, do you think in however many years when the labor thing comes up, the deferred payments thing changes? Because I've heard that the players are like, absolutely not. We will never budge on deferments.
Yeah, I
And
don't think so. I think the MLBPA is too strong to have that come up. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing that teams didn't use enough that are now they're going to use and have that sales pitch. Hey, we were really close last year. Take a huge contract that we'll pay you in 10 years. We'll build a core and we'll go after it for the next 3.
Yeah.
That's the sales pitch.
And it's
That
going to
was
say,
absolutely Andrew Friedman's sales pitch to Yamamoto. Hey,
go
Shohei's coming. Take your 300 million and we'll pay you and we'll go get some other guys.
and go buy a house in Texas or Florida and have that be your main residence for the very minimum that you have to live there. And then we can send your non-tax deferred payment there.
We'll send the jet right there.
Or New Hampshire.
Yeah.
No
beautiful.
income tax.
Granite State.
I drove through a
Is that
winter
right?
wonderland back road today. Oh my God. And all I could think of was, I want this to melt.
Well, like we said, Tom, 8 days until we get to watch fun Florida weather. So I guess at this point, what do you see here? What's your ranking? How do you think these teams are going to finish out?
I think they finish out Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, Giants, Rockies.
Okay. So you have the Diamondbacks out of the playoffs this year, or just not finishing second with 84 wins?
Yeah, I just think they started off hot, then they didn't play well for a long time, and then they got their act together and rode it all the way to the pennant.
Well, I mean, 84 wins and clinching a playoff berth is great. However, that's a .519 winning percentage. You're just above 500.
Right.
So if that's what you have to do to get an extra playoff to get a wild card berth, I think they could still be there. I mean, San Diego came on hot last year and finished 2 games or 1 game above 500, 82 and 80. So like there's competition there, but it's with what we just went over. It's not only the Dodgers division to lose, it is the Dodgers World Series to lose this year. And I've said that before. I've made the Dodgers my pick in the World Series, but this year is absolutely theirs to lose. They couldn't be more set up for a deep postseason run.
And when the 83 win Chicago Cubs knock them off, oh my God, I was
just gonna say,
set off
I got
fireworks.
like a big red season coming. Yeah, exactly. The
Oh,
Reds or somebody like that, some small market team are going to absolutely crush them in 3 games.
Honestly, when it's been happening for the last decade, I'm always like, God, wow, I can't believe it again. It's more like that. It's more shock. And some people celebrate it because, big market team losing. Now I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to be like, it didn't work. Again,
Yeah.
You focused on pitchers with Tommy John surgeries in on their third UCL. You're not doing it right. LOL.
My tweet about it was the Dodgers are on the verge of being the Dodgers. And that's exactly what happened. They were the Dodgers. They got to the moment and choked it away. And instead, so in doing that for what was they won in 2020, 21, 22, 23, they all had bad showings in the playoffs. Because of that, Andrew Friedman took a big bag of money and reloaded any above average major league player with an all-star. So they're going for it. The best thing you can say about it is, yeah, they choked. And it's like you said, some people celebrate a big market team choking, but at the same time, they are absolutely going for it. If you are a fan of the Dodgers, I mean, that's how I want the Red Sox to be run. Throw money at the problem. Let's see if it works. And we'll be there in October to at least fight in the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. It would be a disaster. A disaster would have to happen for this team to not make the playoffs.
A hilarious disaster. But the thing is, their 1 through 3 hitters that I'm upset are all on that team. I like every one of those players.
Yeah, you want to watch them. There's nobody on the team that you can hate. Do you know how excited I am to watch Yamamoto pitch in the majors?
Yes.
I can't wait.
It's just boring.
Yeah, I know, but I can't wait to watch it.
All right, Jack. I'm gonna go watch Ken Burns baseball or something to like my mind. Maybe I'm gonna watch Game 5 of the 2018 World Series. I don't know. This left me with a bad taste in my mouth.
I'm right there with you. Yeah.
So next
we
week
only have about 80 more of these to go this season.
Yeah, next week though, don't worry, folks. We are going to have it's going to be a lot better because we're going to preview what the Red Sox have done. Yep, those crickets were intentional. And then we're going to talk about the NL Central, which is just not as exciting. I hope Ellie De La Cruz
should be
back.
A fun division, though. Should be a fun division. Can't really earmark anybody to win it.
No, that's always good. But until then, Jack, it was good having you back. And I'll actually
happy
see
to be back.
I'll see you early next week because we're going to do the big game 3-way.
Yeah, I'm omnipresent. I'm across all channels.
All right, Jack. You have a good day.
Bye, Tom.